Hey guys, and welcome back to the Indie Spotlight here on the Fronsman Productions YouTube channel. If you're new to this series, this is where I take a look at independent films to help shine a spotlight on some of the amazing talent out there making indie movies. Today we're going to be taking a look at Heather Bale's directorial debut, Ludella. Ludella is a short thriller starring James L. Edwards as Detective Todd Richards, who is determined to get to the bottom of a cold case spanning 30 years of a missing girl named Ludella after new evidence surfaces that indicates that she might still be alive. Well, Detective Richards takes this to Ludella's father, Del Geyer, played by Brad Vincent, who angrily dismisses the detective. What more could Geyer possibly be hiding? However, Richards refuses to take no for an answer even after getting his warrant request denied. So instead, he and his wife Sarah devise their own plan to get to the bottom of what happened to Ludella. But that's all that I'll say about the plot to avoid giving away any story spoilers. Instead, let's shift gears and talk about some of the filmmaking aspects that you can learn from by watching Ludella. Ludella is a movie that makes perfect use of having limited locations. Heather Bales, as a first-time filmmaker, decided to write the script where it could be shot entirely at her house. And so, being a camera operator on this project, I was a key part within the pre-production process of meetings and so forth, of figuring out the best ways that we could utilize the space and make it to our advantage for the movie. One scene in particular in the script is written to take place outside of a convenience store. However, to make things more convenient, kind of a pun intended, we ended up shooting this right outside Heather's house in her driveway, utilizing camera tricks and lighting to simulate that we were outside of this store. In addition, the director of photography, Richard Russell, also captured just a small insert shot outside of the sign of one of the convenience stores that's near him, so that way we could insert that into the movie, use that with the lighting, and even have another car parked up beside James L. Edwards' car, and utilize all that to our advantage in order to make the space seem like we were actually outside of that store in the parking lot, even having Richard Russell play a small cameo part, getting into that car, and Edwards improvising a little bit of dialogue there to help make the world feel more real and lived in. Another thing that I think that Heather Bales did great as a first-time film director was really utilizing the advice and experience of her cast and crew and some of the feedback that we'd offer either in pre-production or while we were on set. One example of this, once again, I mentioned how I was a camera operator. Well, Heather had this idea where she wanted to see fingers coming out from under a door in the basement while Geyer and Richards are talking about the Ludella case, and then show how they would notice those doors. Well, I had this idea of capturing both of those within the exact same shot, and my strategy would be to get underneath of Heather's shelving down there in the basement, which, mind you, was a pretty tight space, but one that me being a 5'4", kind of guy, I can get down under there and get this. Now, the plan was to have the fingers come out from under the door, get that in a close-up on the right side of the frame. Meanwhile, Brad Vincent and James L. Edwards, they're off in the background on the left side of the frame, and you're able to then rack focus from that hand to them and get their reaction to it of noticing that hand and showing the spatial awareness. Well, Heather ended up taking that advice and that suggestion, and now I think that's one of the best shots within the entire movie, and I'm really, really happy with how that came out. One really special shout out that I really want to give when talking about Ludella goes to James L. Edwards, who actually came onto this project a little bit late into pre-production. Originally, the character of Detective Todd Richards was going to be played by somebody else, but because of unforeseen circumstances, James L. Edwards ended up stepping up to the plate and filling in on very, very short notice. Heather had the decision of either delay the production and hold auditions, or what she ultimately did, which was, giving Edwards a call as a trusted friend, as well as a very, very phenomenally talented actor with years of experience. And then, so when he stepped onto this project, even given the very little prep time, he came in and did an absolutely phenomenal job. And that's a true testament to the ability and the skill and the talent of an actor to be able to come in so late into the process, but still be able to perform at such a high capacity. James L. Edwards was a huge part in how this movie turned out and how successful Ludella ultimately was. And that's not to take away from the rest of the performances from the other actors. Katie Wells and Brad Vincent both really shined in their parts. I just wanted to give the shout out to Edwards as he came into this project with such very little time, but yet came in full-heartedly, gave it his all, and it really shows in the final result. And if I wouldn't have told you this right now, you probably would have thought he was cast for months. Cinematography-wise, the movie was in really, really good hands with Richard Russell as director of photography. As I've stated on this channel before, I think that Richard has such a unique and acute eye for gorgeous shots that really does shine through in the movie, and working with him as a camera operator on this project was absolutely a blessing. He and I clicked very well together, and it shows through in the final product with some of the really great shots that the two of us were able to capture as a team. So overall, I think that Ludella is really worth the watch, especially for independent filmmakers, as a huge learning lesson and inspiration of you can really achieve something great, something fantastic, even with your very first short film. Utilizing limited locations and cast, utilizing the advice and the feedback from experienced cast and crew members who might have some interesting ideas, and listening to that guidance and feedback is extremely important. No matter if it's your first film, your second, your third, as directors, we're always learning, and it's always our responsibility to learn and grow. And it always takes that very first step of putting yourself out there and taking this idea from page to screen. And I think that Heather Bales did a wonderful job with her very first short film. It came out absolutely amazing. And if you're watching this video right now and you've wanted to make your movie, but you just haven't, felt confident enough in yourself yet, I say, watch Ludella, see that even on your first attempt you can produce something fantastic, and then go out there and make that movie. And then who knows, maybe we'll be watching an episode of Indie Spotlight where I'm talking about your movie next. Speaking of watching Ludella, you can watch it right now on YouTube, and as always, I'm gonna link down in the description where you can click on that link and watch the movie and then let me know what you think. But anyway, guys, that's all that I have for you here today. Remember, if you like this content and you want to see even more videos on independent filmmaking, then you know what to do. As always, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you like the video. And if you're subscribed, make sure that you hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any content right here on Frons Productions. And if you yourself happen to be an independent filmmaker and you would like for me to talk about your movie right here on the Indie Spotlight, then you know what to do. Down in the comments, tell me, what is the name of your movie and where can I watch it? And I'll add that to my watch list to talk about in a future episode. Anyway, guys, as always, you know the drill. Until next time, that's a wrap.